Right now, welcome back to the program. Lou and Michelle here, and of course, for a long time, we've been talking about the great speaker series that the Blank Park Zoo puts on each and every year.
Yeah, and last night they had Chip Taylor, who was here, and he was focusing on the monarch butterfly. And it was really interesting to just the research and the things that they have found out about the migration and the importance of it. And a big message with him was really about the loss of habitat. And the title of his presentation was All Hands on Deck.
Okay.
You know, about mobilizing citizenry, and you know, we all need to do our part to help. You know, make sure that we don't have the declining population of monarchs.
And you had a chance to go over and check it out?
I sat down with him after he got done, and he shared a little bit more with us. So here's Chip Taylor. Welcome to Des Moines.
Well, thank you.
You started Monarch Watch back in the early 90s. Tell us what prompted you to start that?
Well, I came off of working with African killer bees. I had done that for something like 22 years. And I realized that that sort of work was going to come to an end, and I needed to be looking for another type of project to work on. And I was working with graduate students at the time, and we were teaching a field ecology course, and one of the things to work on each fall was monarch butterflies. Okay. And then I came around to 1992, and I was looking around and saying, you know, we really ought to get more involved with monarch butterflies, and let's start a tagging program. The tagging program that had been run by a professor at the University of Toronto, Fred Urquhart, and his wife, Nora, that program had pretty much wound down. And I was kind of disappointed because I thought, you know, that they could have learned a lot more about what was going on with this migration, but they just didn't have the same sort of vision, I think, that I did about what we could learn from the migration. They were interested primarily in one thing, and that is where the butterflies come from that get to Mexico. And I saw this as an opportunity to look at how the migration moved, how successful the butterflies were from different portions of the country, just what the timing and the pace of the migration was, and so on and so forth. Okay. There's just a lot of really interesting dynamics. I mean, this is ecology. This is really fun stuff. So how do you do it? You involve a lot of people in tagging butterflies. You have to think in the long term. You have to think that, you know, this is going to take years and years and years to get the kind of data that we need, because this, you know, we're looking at most of a continent here.
Why is the monarch migration so important?
Well, this is truly one of the most magnificent migrations in the world, right? And it's a migration that has fascinated people for a long time. Just the public has been fascinated by this. I mean, you've got a butterfly that migrates all the way to Mexico. I mean, how can you possibly explain that?
Yeah,
so there's this fundamental here that you really need to try to understand this. Well, you know, you bring biologists into this, and they say, "Whoa, there's a lot to sort out here," because we don't know how they do that. And so one of the universal questions that I get is, how do they know how to get to Mexico? Well, come on now, folks. They don't know how to get to Mexico. This is a butterfly that can't know that much because it's not a thinking being. It doesn't have the property to sort things out. It's got a very tiny brain. It's about the size of a pinhead. So how does it get to Mexico? Well, that brings us to try to understand the environmental cues, the stimuli that the butterfly is responding to, right? So there is somehow a response to the physical environment that is programmed into these butterflies, so it has the effect of guiding them or getting them to Mexico. They don't know how to get there. They just get there because they're following some set of conditions. So our task is to try to figure out what those conditions are.
What have you learned since you started this Monarch Watch in regards to things that we need to be concerned about?
Well, there's a lot of things, but going back to this start here in terms of how they get to Mexico, one of the things we did was did a time shifting experiment, in which we basically woke the butterflies up at noon instead of at 6 in the morning, and then we say, which direction are you flying if we wake you up at noon? And it turned out that they were responding to the sunlight at noon as if it was 3 in the afternoon. So instead of going the usual direction, they're now shifted so that they were going further west.
Okay.
All right. So this we came up with a concept. It was called a time-compensated sun compass. It told us that what the butterflies have is they have the ability to tell time. Right? They know what time it is. They know what time it is. Right? They're judging somehow the process. They have a processing system that allows them to determine when the sun comes up, when the sun goes down, and they're on a track to go through Lawrence, Kansas anyway, at about 210 degrees when they're migrating. So they're going 210 degrees at 9 in the morning, they're going 210 degrees at 10 after 2, they're going 210 degrees at 4 o'clock. Well, how do they keep going the same vector when the time is changing? They're compensating for the amount of time that has occurred.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
So, I mean, that's just one thing,
Yeah.
right? And other researchers have worked out a whole lot of other things, like their response to magnetic fields. And one of the things that we're looking at is their response to the changing altitude angle of the sun at solar noon, which means that in the fall sky, this sun is declining at a very constant rate until it gets to mid-latitudes, and then it moves up a little faster, and then it slows down again. And what the butterflies seem to be doing is they seem to be tracking the declining angle of the sun at solar noon.
Okay.
And we're going, wow, isn't that cool? Now, what does that mean? We don't know whether they're actually tracking the sun or this changing sun angle or something else. Maybe there's something else changing in the celestial cues out there. But the fact is that there's this correlation with what the sun is doing, raises some really interesting questions about how this system is all put together.
Right.
And you know, we talked a little bit today about the tagging program, and one of the ways to explain this is that we're talking with the solar angle, the sun angle, we're talking about a migration window. So what's a migration window? Well, if we turn people loose and let them tag monarch butterflies as they're migrating in the fall, they tag butterflies for 60 to 80 days, all right? But it's within that 60 to 80 degree period that you get this window, this very narrow window. It's only about 30 days. And it goes all the way down the continent, all the way into Mexico,
Right.
where the butterflies are getting to Mexico within that 30-day period. If they're too early or too late, they don't get there.
Okay. You mentioned a lot, you talked a lot in your presentation about the loss of habitat.
Yeah.
And that's a big
Oh, yes.
concern. So what can you recommend for all of us on an individual basis and in our own homes? What can we be doing to affect the loss of the habitat as well as the declining population?
Well, what we need people to do is plant milkweed. I mean, you've got a garden in your backyard, you've got a flower garden, put a few milkweed plants out there. You don't have to do a lot of stuff out there, but put nectar plants in your garden as well. I mean, there are all sorts of things that we can grow in our own properties. And, you know, in our program, we have something like 23,000 registered monarch way stations, and basically most of those are just small garden plots where people have planted milkweed and to attract the pollinators, and it works.
And do you want to try to get more people involved with the tagging program?
You know what? We are overwhelmed with the tagging program.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people
That
tagging.
means a lot of people care, right?
Yeah, a lot of people care, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have all of this participation, and we're kind of overwhelmed by it. And we've fussed and fumed about the tagging program because it's a big thing to manage. I mean, we're sending out anywhere from 200,000 to 400,000 tags a year, to anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 people or participants a year, at least that many orders, and that's a lot of stuff to track and
Right.
keep. I mean, we lose money on the program every year. Yeah. So,
Wow.
and then we have to pay for all the recoveries in Mexico. We don't make any money on this program. We lose money, but the data is just awesome.
Awesome.
He just lots of interesting stuff with that, and you can find out more at monarchwatch.org. Next series, the next speaker they have coming in next month, first part of April, is we're going to be talking about bats. So good stuff out
We're
there
gonna
at the
be
Blank
there.
Park Zoo.
All right.